Hello Bass UTV. We're back out on the lake. You're hanging out at Guntersville with Swindle. That's right. They done brought the crazy man on the show, and we come in and we're doing segments on structure fishing, and you're going to see a lot of this. My starting lineup, baits I fish, styles, techniques, how I approach a ledge. But one thing I wanted to touch over this morning, because we actually, when the guys got in, we started shooting backwards. We started in the evening. So now we come to the morning time, and the reason I'm setting this scene up is it's a little lower light. So it's a little cloudy, a little hazy. So what does that mean on ledge fishing? It means think. Just because we caught them on this bait yesterday afternoon, we had sun, water was kind of slick, throwing a little, you know, just a little beautiful disco shad. It's subtle, but yet it really got just enough hint of color in that, like if the water had a little haze in it, you can catch them. But I pull out here this morning, and I haven't even caught any on this DT20, haven't even got to throw it, but I know it's low light, so I immediately get down and tie on a different color. So if you're structure fishing offshore, and you practiced the evening before at 3 o'clock, and you had some pretty decent bites, and you're gonna return to that area the next morning to compete in a tournament, don't be afraid to tie on something a little brighter and low light. Don't just come in with a subtle color. If that's what you were catching them on, throw it a little bit, don't catch them. Put on something a little brighter. Sometimes the fish may not can see it good. It's just a little bit experimental move that I like to do. I even tie it on a swim bait, on a Tokyo head, something a little bit brighter that I can keep down. All I'm trying to do is like what we call stiffen up the colors, make them a little brighter, and watch this. I go from a regular worm that you'd see me throw a bunch on a 1/2 ounce head, and I'll take the green pumpkin off and I'll go to like plum candy, plum apple. All I'm doing is putting just a little bit more tone of color in there just in case low light in the clouds, the fish are having a hard time seeing things. I'm gonna start out anticipating that, so I'm just gonna change a few basic colors, and then I'm ready to start the day. So remember, from day to day, high light to low light, sunshine, slick water, sometimes it's a simple color adjustment. I've done it yesterday, swapped from a regular shad to olive color shad, something a little bit more subtle. Now I'm going right back the other way, something a little brighter. So y'all stay with us right here at Bass U. I've got the trolling motor set up, locked down, just went over a couple, not a mega scoop, but enough I want to throw at them. When you pull it on these airs, I throw way over my waypoint, and I point that rod tip straight at the bait. I kind of flex it backwards, but keep the rod tip down. If you're holding your rod up here, you're stopping that bait from running 2 foot deeper than it should. So just kind of keep your rod tip down. A nice fast retrieve. But the rod tip position is going to be the key 90% of the time of how deep your bait runs, whether it's 2 foot too shallow. And sometimes by just doing that, because see, I'm cranking over 21, 22 foot, and I'm just trying to get that extra foot of depth on it. Just kind of point it straight down. It's better if you're about Matt Lee's height, that way you ain't even got to bend over. The rod's already on the water. I tell him that's the disadvantages of cranking when you're tall. All I'm trying to do is right off the tip of this point, it's a little hard place. Sit on the graph real good, marked a couple. There wasn't a mother load here. There's a couple of big old shadows though, and I just want to see if somebody wants to play ball this morning. Two or three different baits, 10 or 15 minutes. If I haven't triggered a big one to bite, I'm going to move. The reason being is it's feeding time. It's feeding time. This is when everything's going on in the morning. So looking at the time of day, the wind, the clouds, if they're going to bite here, you're going to catch one in the first 10 or 15 minutes. You're not going to have to sit here for an hour and go through 10 baits. I'm not going to have to throw my whole line up to know what's here. If he's here, he's going to see it, he's going to bite. I'm going to give him a couple of choices, but I'm not going to beg his ass. I can tell you that. This ain't the Jimmy Hill mission. We ain't looking for handouts. You either bite or you sit down there and choke on crawfish. We ain't. The question everybody has is when to leave. That's the question I get at a lot of my Bass U seminars is when you're fishing, Gerald, you on a spot, how do you know when to leave? How do you know when it's time to, you know, I think for me, the key to when I leave, no matter what I'm doing, is when I lose confidence. If I fish at 5 minutes and that confidence gone and I start doubting my cast.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.